Hello, history scholars. This is a brief lecture about Martin Luther and the Protestant Reformation. All right, Martin Luther, he was born in 1483, died in 1546. He was a Catholic monk and he lived in Germany. So you see here a picture of young Martin Luther and then old Martin Luther. So he definitely spurred the Protestant Reformation in Germany, and then it spread all over the world. All right, here is a map of 16th century Europe during the Reformation. So in 1517, Europe was uniformly Catholic. So pretty much everybody was Catholic. But by 1545, large sections of Europe were actually Protestant. So the shift was part of the Reformation, which again, Martin Luther spurred. But he, in his writings, called the 95 Theses, were drafted in 1517, and they highly impacted Europe and the Roman Catholic faith. So you see, according to this map, in 1560, there was a lot still of Roman Catholics, but you can see here that there were people that had converted to Lutheranism. So obviously, you know that there's a few churches locally that are Lutheran churches, and the term Lutheran comes from his last name, Martin Luther. And so these areas were very, very impacted by his ideas. And this specifically, this city right here called Wittenberg, was where he did most of his preaching. All right. One of the things that Martin Luther was especially critical to about the church, of the Catholic Church specifically, was the selling of indulgences. So prior to 1517, when he actually wrote all of his 95 Theses, which are the complaints against the church, the Catholic Church began selling indulgences. And basically what indulgences are they are fees that people pay the church to get into heaven. Yeah, let me say that again. So people believed that they could pay the church to guarantee their entry into heaven. And Martin Luther thought that that was kind of a dumb idea, right? That was one of his major criticisms of the Catholic Church. So he obviously, got a bee in his bonnet, and he ended up writing complaints, and he ended up nailing them, his 95 complaints called the 95 Theses, to one of the church doors in Wittenberg. Okay, so a little bit about Luther's ideas. Martin Luther, again, he was a Catholic monk. He was troubled by the practices of indulgences. He thought they were very unfair. He also thought, it's not fair that just rich people have the luxury of believing that they're getting to heaven. What about people that don't have the money to pay the church? Okay. So the Pope considered Luther's position to be against the church. He thought Luther was committing heresy, which is a term used for somebody that is going against the church. He actually excommunicated Luther, meaning kicked him out. He kicked him out of the church. And so Luther gained support from a group of German princes who protected Luther and helped him spread his ideas. So again, he had some allies on his side. All right, so a couple of things. So often historians find two opposing accounts of the same event, and we have been doing this throughout our class, you guys, that you've been looking at primary sources that don't necessarily agree with one another. Okay, and this is going to be the same exercise. So again, often historians find two opposing accounts of the same event, and sometimes they're even written by the same person. So during his life, Luther gave different accounts of his break with the Catholic Church. And so to figure out what really happened, they used the skill of sourcing to determine where, when, and how a document was written. We've worked a little bit on this already, you guys, so don't let the term sourcing throw you. But again, the skill of sourcing is to determine when, where, and why a document was written. They also use corroboration. Okay, and we've already worked on corroboration, and basically corroboration is, does this source agree with the other source? Okay, and how are they different and how are they similar? So during this exercise, or during this lesson, we're going to explore two documents attributed to Luther that illustrate different motivations for separating from the Catholic Church. So you guys, as we go through the documents, I want you to pay close attention to the time and the place where each document is written, as well as I want you to really focus on the similarities and differences between the two accounts. So specifically, I want you to really consider, number one, on what details do they agree? And secondly, on what details do they differ? All right, so the central historical question is, why did Martin Luther challenge the Catholic Church? So as you read through the two documents, we're going to try to explain the differences between the two documents and decide which one is more reliable. And more reliable in order to answer the question, why did Martin Luther challenge the Catholic Church? All right, you guys, thank you. And let me know if you have questions.